looking through. Matthew 5. Beatitudes. I've been on a kick here lately. My pastor kind of put me on it. And I found this cool Bible. Check this out. Tribe of Judah, MM, left it at a church. And I said, cool, free Bible. I really like it. Small, compact, easy to hide. Hide like it's a pistol or something, like it's drugs. Oh man, yeah. But yeah, he put me onto it. And, you know, there's certain sections of the Bible that you can read and literally live your life accordingly. And I don't think No Shave November's being so nice to me. Like, I might just quit. I have a beard here, but nothing. It's just not happening for me. But I'm trying. I'm really trying. I'm putting forth the good old college try. But whatever. So check it out. We're here with Haley the motorcycle. And I gave her a bath yesterday, and she is looking a lot better. There's not as much grease. And look at that, I got all the dirt daubers. Most of the dirt daubers out of the fins. Yeah, this bike came stock with a dirt dauber performance package, so that explains the dirt daubers. And I'm probably going to do an oil change, so get ready for another Motorcycle Madness video. I kind of got mad at YouTube because I don't know. Maybe I'm not entertaining. Maybe the algorithm hates me. I don't care. But I need to make another Motorcycle Madness video for you guys, for the ones who actually watch them. And I need to figure out how to turn those videos into long form videos too, because as I'm doing this work, you know, there's other people who have this bike, and there's not much on it on YouTube. You know, people seem to get, excuse me, hiccup again, interrupting myself. People seem to get these things, and they'll run them for a little while, and they'll upgrade to a bigger bike. They'll have their fun with it, upgrade to a bigger bike. It's rare to see one of these things with over 10,000 miles on it, and I just rolled over 10,000. You know, like the Honda Rebels, the old Honda Nighthawks, pretty much anything with that CB250 motor on it, people will just run. They'll upgrade, at least here in the States they do. They'll run, they upgrade, and then they'll just let the bike rot. They'll either sell it or let the bike rot. And so they're generally beginner bikes. They're really forgiving to ride. They're generally considered beginner bikes, which nowadays they've been replaced by the Groms. I really wish those little Honda Monkeys got popular. They're not that popular for some reason, and I really need to go pick one up before Honda quits making them, because that would be a shame, because I would ride the snot out of it. But because they weren't so popular, there's nothing for performance on these things, and replacement parts are a lot harder to find than I thought they'd be. You know, I figured because Honda made this motor for so long that there would be this sea of replacement parts for it, and certain things there is, like the CDIs. You know, it uses an AC CDI. Man, those are a dime a dozen. I'm really considering converting it over to a DC CDI. Those seem to run a little better, and there's a lot more performance options for them. The only thing about DC CDIs that I'm kind of like against is if you ever let your battery run dead, you can't kick it off with a DC CDI, whereas AC CDIs you can. Like, this thing don't even need a battery. I wish it would have came with a Kickstarter, to be honest with you. Because if it did, I would have never bought another battery for it. I would have just kicked it off and rolled with it. But it is what it is. And where did I get these welding goggles? These are not welding goggles, they are safety glasses. I ride a lot of motorcycles all the time. That's like my main mode of transportation. And get a few bugs in your eyes, and you will definitely want something like this. Let's see the raccoon. But yeah, you can get them at Walmart. They're in prescription too. But man, let's go on to a more spiritual topic. We talked a little bit about bikes. I will be changing the oil soon, and I'm going to try to make a really entertaining Motorcycle Madness video for you guys so you can watch it later. And I'd like to see if I can do a longer version of a Motorcycle Madness video and possibly answer some questions that I had to do some research to find out, and I'll answer them for you guys for free. Boom. Because if you got one of these motors, you got one of these bikes with that motor, there's very little information, and hey, man, you know, if I'm tearing it apart anyway, if I got to do the research anyway, I might as well pass it on to the internet, because the first thing I do when I look up something is hit up YouTube, and there's nothing on that thing. I mean, there's a little bit, but golly, nothing good, nothing real deep. You know, there's a few people that rebuild them, that have rebuilt these motors, and they just talk so much. And not that they're talking too much, but there's so much information about the entire motor versus one particular area or two particular areas, or, you know, like setting the timing, doing this, doing that. You know, if all you need to do is one particular job, why not have a separate video for that? So that's what I'm gonna try. I'm not a real mechanic, but we'll see. Anyway, let's go into something spiritual. I've been on this kick here lately with the Beatitudes in Matthew chapter 5, and finally found me another Bible. I either give them away or I lose them. I use my phone, man. The phone's like the coolest Bible I've ever had. Like literally all the Bibles I could ever want are on YouVersion. But it's hard to do YouTube lives with a phone Bible, because the phone is doing the live. How do I do that? Who knows? So either get another phone or just get a paper copy. And Tribe of Judah, hooked your brother up. So y'all read this backwards and check them out. Love them guys. They're the bomb. So Beatitudes. I ain't gonna go very far. We're just gonna eat a little bit. So chapter 5, after seeing the multitudes, he went up on the mountain, and then when he was seated, his disciples came to him. He opened his mouth and taught them, saying, Blessed are the poor in spirit, for the Father, Blessed are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Blessed are those who mourn, for they shall be comforted. Blessed are the meek, for they shall inherit the earth. So what's he saying? Poor in spirit. You know, when you deal with poor people, one thing I notice is they're not, and I'm one of them, so I'm definitely not rich. I ride that thing. They don't need people who are really, you know, people who generally live a poor lifestyle. They don't need a lot of stuff. And specifically, I'm referring to the ones who are not materialistic, because, you know, you have a lot of poor people who live paycheck to paycheck, and they are only poor because they choose to live paycheck to paycheck. You know, that's not the type of poor person I'm talking about. I'm talking about the ones who accept their lot in life and learn how to enjoy it. A good friend of mine told me this, and it's really stuck to me. Because it just showed me how materialistic I was, and I still am in a way. He was talking about, he lives on a motorcycle, love the guy, Scooter Tramp Scotty, check his videos out. He is a cool dude, great inspiration on YouTube. But man, I was going through something in life, and I was on his Odyssey page, and I just reached out to the guy, and he sent me his number. And I periodically talk to him, and I'll never forget what he was telling me. He, back in 1995, you know, he decided to do this motorcycle camping thing full time, and he sold all his stuff. He got rid of all his stuff, either sold it or gave it away, and struck out on the road. And man, he's been doing it ever since. And he only has what he needs to survive. And he tells me, he's like, I'm not anti-stuff. He's like, I'm just not materialistic. He's like, if it doesn't serve a purpose in my life, it's got to go. I don't want it. Because everything he owns has to fit on his bike. He has an old Harley. I think it's an Electric Glide or something like that. I can't remember. But it's the one with the big touring packs, and it's got everything he has. And it's something else he said that stuck with me. He's like, stuff and freedom are inversely proportional, because you have to maintain your stuff. You have to maintain it or it rots. And if you don't maintain it, it just the responsibility it requires, it eats up more freedom. So you're either going to have stuff or you're going to have freedom. And the more stuff you have, the less freedom you have. And so he gave me this good balance, and I thought a lot about it. I was like, if the things in my life don't bring me value, bring me intrinsic value, or they don't aid me in my life in some shape, form, or fashion, then what are they doing? What am I doing with this thing? Like, why do I have a need for this? And blessed are the poor in spirit, because the poor in spirit know this. They know this. They're not gonna waste their time getting things, obtaining things that don't bring them intrinsic value. And that's kind of, I think about Scotty when I read that verse, because that's kind of how he is. He's like, man, I don't need a lot of stuff. I don't need a lot of stuff. If it don't fit on my bike, if it doesn't aid my lifestyle, then I don't need it. And I find the chasing of things, and hey, I'm guilty of this. I'm not going to act like I know what I'm talking about, because this is a discipline I'm learning. And I'm not afraid to be honest about that. When I'm learning a discipline, I don't want anyone to, I don't want you guys listening to me thinking that this is something I perfected. Absolutely not. But I find that learning disciplines and applying them to your life is such a meaningful thing, because it grows you spiritually, mentally, and physically. And wisdom can be found anywhere, everywhere. And so just sticking with this and chewing on it for a minute. What does it mean to be blessed? What does it mean to be poor in spirit and blessed? It means you're not materialistic. It means that you look for things of intrinsic value. At least this is what it means to me. You look for things of intrinsic value. Like this bike behind me. I love this thing. I have a lot of fun with it. I really enjoy it. And the cost of ownership for this is far outweighed by the value that it brings to my life. Let's talk about physical things here. The cost of ownership brings me so much more value than the value it brings me outweighs the cost of ownership, if that makes any sense. Let me try to get my head straight on that. And I joke with folks all the time, like, man, 250s are so much fun to own, because the fun to motor ratio is so much greater. But, I mean, it gets great gas mileage. Everything about it's cheap. The parts are cheap. When I can find them, the parts are really cheap. Really simple to repair. Really simple to maintain and keep going. And, it's beat up enough to where, if it gets beat up a little more, it's okay. I'm not heartbroken over it. But, I've had a lot of fun. Ever since it came into my life, I've had a lot of fun. And it's not one of those projects that absolutely break the bank. Even if you strip this thing down part for part, it's not going to break your bank. Which is what I need, because I don't have a lot of bank here, I don't want to sit there and have, fundraisers and have to sell things to be able to maintain my toys. I want to play. I want to have fun with it. I want this thing in my life to bring value to me. And you can even take this farther into relationships. If relationships don't bring value to you, then what are you doing with them? Too often we get caught up and we try to be rich in relationships. And, we do one of two things. People are either toxic for us or we're toxic for them. There's rarely this balance, and you got to find that balance. The relationship you have with stuff, it's either toxic for you or toxic for the stuff. Man, there's a lot of things in my life that I could get rid of and either sell or give to other people, and it would bring them way more value than it's bringing me, because a lot of the stuff I have doesn't bring me value. Still trying to sort that out in my life. And you would think it's easy, just get rid of it. No, it's painful. It's painful. You know, I'm one of those people that make emotional connections to things that I own. Um, and so it's been a very, very painful journey for me clearing out the clutter of my life. But I have the rest of my life to do it too. I'm not in a hurry. Um, but you know, trying to step into that blessed are the poor in spirit. I want to be blessed. I want to be blessed. I want my lifestyle to be one that blesses me. I don't want my world, my life wrapped around how much stuff I can acquire. And you know, the only reason I would ever do that is for one of a couple reasons. Is one, I like the way obtaining stuff makes me feel. Two, I part of my self-worth is dependent on what I have and how much I have. And three, you know, my self-worth is also dependent on what others think about me, which is why luxury items sell so well. I mean, you know, I remember growing up, you know, my family wasn't rich, and it just blew my mind, man. I would ride in this car. It wasn't until I was nearly grown that we finally got a car that had an air conditioner. And that's not a pop shot against anybody in my family. Just things don't matter. Things didn't matter. Yeah, it'd be nice to have it, but golly, we rolled the freaking windows down. No big deal. Mississippi heat. We rolled the windows down and we didn't die. The first vehicle I ever owned with an air conditioner was my '01 Toyota Tacoma, and I was pretty much spoiled after that. I was pretty much ruined with the whole windows down thing. But man, I had this old F-150 I rode around for a long time, and it had these little triangle windows. And man, if I was moving, it was great. Just set that little triangle window on me, and buddy, I was good to go. Had a little sliding back glass. I'd open that up, point that triangle window at me, roll the side window down, and man, just cruised. And I loved it. Loved it. The hottest of days. The only time it sucked was in the winter, because the truck also had a bad heater coil, and previous owner bypassed it. But whatever. I was just too lazy to fix it. You know, and so many poor people hate their lot in life because they look at their life and then they look at what the rich has. But they refuse to realize what the rich have to give up to have it. How much freedom do luxury cars cost you? How much freedom does truckloads of money cost you? I mean, there's this point, you know, when I see rich people talk about their lives and what it took for them to get to this place, years and years and years of their life was sold to making money. And you know, if they find value in that, I'm not judging them. But for me, I don't want to do that. I don't want the headache that they have to go to. And it's interesting to me. Okay, hey, whatever, man. You got $1 billion corporation, and you know you have a lifestyle that you want to maintain. Do it. You know, whatever. I'm not judging you. But for me, you spend 20, 30 years building this empire just to experience the same freedoms that I can experience for hardly nothing. And when I quit envying those people, and said, you know what, that life isn't for me, things got so much more peaceful. I got to really experience, and I am beginning to really experience what it means to be blessed in that aspect. Because there are years of my life that I'm going to enjoy that I would not be able to enjoy should I chase the dollar, should I chase wealth, should I chase social status. Years of my life I'm going to get to enjoy. Time with my family I'm going to get to enjoy. Time with my friends that I'm going to get to enjoy. Man, I've had more fun inviting folks over to tinker on my bike, to tinker on their bikes. Hey, that's what I like to do. And you know, it's not about the project. It's about the time I get to spend with people working on the project. And I've always got something going in my shed. It's kind of my sanctuary. I've always got something going on, something out there to go and play with and tinker with. Because man, I find a lot of peace in that. I find a lot of peace in that. I get to get in my own little world. I get to quiet things here without any real effort. You just get to kind of zone out into the project and solve problems. And I find a lot of value in that, so I continue doing it. And no, it doesn't make money. It definitely doesn't make a lot of money. Actually, it makes no money. It always costs me money. But I don't really care. I don't really care because 1,000 years from now, it's not going to matter if I was a billionaire. 1,000 years from now, it's not going to matter if I had a lot of stuff, because everything I own today, maybe one or two things I own today might outlast me. I think about antique stores, when I go in antique stores and I see things that at one point in time were really, really expensive. And for the most part, some of it still is. But now it's chump change, It's nothing. Not worth anything. A couple bucks for an old useless piece of electronic equipment. I bought a radio a while back that I had a lot of fun with. It was an old, I think it was like a little 5-watt AM tube radio. I still got it. It's in my closet. I dig it out every now and then and listen to some good old AM. And I just can't help. What's up, fella from Pakistan? I just can't help but wonder how much that thing cost brand new. How much freedom did that person, the first owner of that radio, have to give up in order to own it and maintain it? Because they weren't cheap. They weren't cheap at all, man. Radio back then was a big deal. Versus now, versus what I paid for it, and how much freedom it's cost me. It cost me $5 worth of freedom and a little bit of space on my shelf. That's it. And it puts it in perspective for me, Everything I'm living for, everything I could live for now, 1,000 years from now, is not even going to exist, most likely. This space where I'm sitting right now will most likely be underground. That's just how the world works. Land is fluid. It moves. Whether you believe it or not, it does. It moves. It grows. It shrinks. People come and change things, and man, this may be a huge city, or this may be a bunch of woods one day. Who knows? Only time will tell. And so I don't want to live for things that don't matter. I want to learn to enjoy every day that I possibly have, and find value and meaning, because today is the only day I'll ever get to experience. Think about that. This day, what is it? November 18th, 2024. This is the only time in human history you will ever be able to experience November 18th, 2024. And I don't want to waste it with meaningless negativity. I don't want to waste it with meaningless negativity. And I don't want to waste it with meaninglessness. Too much of my life has been dedicated to scrolling on my phone. I gotta stop that. We all gotta stop that. And I would love to learn what it means to be blessed. Blessed are those who are poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. There's riches promised to people who accept. I'm just gonna stop there. That's gonna be our thing. There's riches promised to us, for those of us who are believers. If you're poor in spirit, and that riches isn't monetary. I love the metaphor of heaven being paved with streets of gold. Like the gold, the thing that man values the most, the thing that for centuries we literally based our currencies off of. It's pavement. Think about it. And rather, I don't think heaven is what we think it is. I think the people who described it did their best to describe something indescribable. The kingdom of heaven, think about that. What if it was here? What if it was here? What if you could live in it here and now? And I believe you can. And if the streets of gold, if the streets are paved with literal gold, that means to me that it's not meaningful. So what if I'm living in the kingdom of heaven? What is meaningful? How do I experience that blessedness? What is meaningful? Time with your family, time with your spiritual growth and development, time enjoying life. I had this moment where I believe I had a vision from God himself, and I walked outside my house, and one of the things he told me that just hit me between the eyes was enjoy your life. And it's a funny how the scriptures, God's word through the scriptures and God's word from his mouth has a way of resonating directly with you, because I knew exactly what he meant. Enjoy your life. That means don't waste it. That means don't let it float by. That means take time to enjoy the weather, to enjoy the trees, to enjoy the sounds, the smell, the feel. That means even when life is rough, live in it. Live. Because if what I believe is correct, this is the only time I will get to exist like this. I have to believe. Maybe I'm wrong, who knows, I'll find out one day. But I believe that if I was created in the image of God, then one day I'll get to exist as he does. And that's so interesting, because it's beyond comprehension, existing outside the limitations of mere space-time. But that makes this life, to me, more precious. Because when I look in the mirror, I see that I'm getting older. I see that my face is changing, my hair is changing color slowly. I brush my hair and there's gray hair stuck to it. I'm like, this is so wild. I look at my hands and they're not smooth like they were when I was a kid, They're beat up. Got a crooked Cheeto finger, I got scars all over my hands from cut. I got a new one right here from a screwdriver. I stabbed a hole through it. That was a big bloody mess. It's like, man, I'm getting older. And I'm going to blink my eyes and I'm going to be even older. Time flies so fast. It's so precious. And learn how to be. It's the challenge for today. This is the challenge for the day. Learn how. Blessed are the poor in spirit. You don't have to be financially poor to be poor in spirit. You have to live life in a meaningful way to be poor in spirit. That's what I believe that means. You take what you have and you enjoy it. You look for meaning. You cut the fat. You trim the fat. Poor people, they don't have wasteful things. At least smart poor people don't. They live with the necessities. They live with things that bring them value. And let's do that, man. Let's do that. I challenge you if you're listening to me. For those of you, because I know not everybody who's on my Facebook are Christians, but even if you're not, take the time to listen to this, because the Bible's been around for thousands of years, and surely I'm not the first person to find value in the pages. Take the time to listen to Jesus' words and see what it means to be poor in spirit and why you would be blessed. Listen to that for yourself. And see if you can't find intrinsic value there. See if you can't find value there. I'm not going to preach. I'm not in the business of converting people. I used to be, and that was a waste of time. I shouldn't have to sell this thing. It should sell itself. There we go. It should sell itself. So, what does it mean to be poor in spirit? What does it mean to be poor in spirit for you? And man, feel free to message me in the comments. I love hearing from you guys. You guys are awesome, and I appreciate the subscribers. I appreciate the likes, the views. You know, that's time out of your life that you're giving to me, and that's time that, you know, we get to connect. This is time I'm giving to you guys. This is time we get to connect. Real quick, I'm going to change back to what I was talking about earlier. You know, I really want to get back to putting out some Motorcycle Madness videos. I can't make it a priority because I got bills to pay, mouths to feed. You know, my kids, they get hungry. My wife, she gets hungry. She likes bougie things like gas in her car, electricity, water, running water, gas. They like hot water. Definitely want to give that to them. And so I can't put, you know, the time into my YouTube that I want to. I am getting to the point where I doubt this channel is ever monetized, but you know, we just do this for fun. I just do this for fun, and man, I just want to make connections with people because my life is short, and I want to do things that bring value to the world. And I hope this brings value to you. So be looking for another Motorcycle Madness video coming up. Feel free to subscribe. I'm going to try to do this every morning. And oh man, let me read this before I go. Oh, you're exactly right, Napoleon. Man, when I've gone to churches. Obviously, I'm a biker. Obviously, motorcycles are my life. If you want to know who I am, Jesus and motorcycles, there you go. Real simple. I'm easy to figure out. I went to a church one time, and there was this guy. He was claiming to be a prophet. Maybe he was, maybe he wasn't. But this dude took one look at me and was like, you're going to hell, you're going to prison, and your friends are going to bring you there. And I'm like, you know, I was wearing my broken chains cut. This is just my everyday around town vest. But I was wearing my broken chains cut, and I'm like, man, this has got ministry crap all over it, you know? Why are you telling me I'm going to hell? What a silly thing. You know, if it didn't solidify the fact that I don't want to shove religion down people's throat, nothing did. And this is the best thing I've ever learn for yourself. You know, even in the scriptures, Paul's like, work out your own salvation. Work it out. Work it out. Because you know what? Salvation for me looks different than salvation from you. And that's a loaded statement. It's a simple sounding statement, but buddy, it's loaded. Because there's things I deal with that get in the way of my spiritual growth that you don't have to deal with. And for those of us who think that, you know, oh, well, I go to this particular denomination and I fit in and I look like I'm supposed to look on Sunday mornings, you know, in the Christian world, we're plagued with that cancer. Dude, I lived that for a long time, and I absolutely didn't grow with that mentality. I didn't grow with that mentality. And I'll say this, man, Jesus came to die for your sin and your guilt. He paid for your sin and your guilt on the cross. And if you go back to Leviticus, you realize there's two more sacrifices. There was peace and there was thanksgiving. Let me tell you how you be a sacrifice of peace. For one, when you accept Jesus Christ as your Lord and Savior, your sin and your guilt are taken out of the equation. When you're baptized, you are telling the world that you are now a disciple of Christ's teachings. You're telling the world that you're rejecting your old way of thinking, that you are going to be a disciple of Christ's teachings. But now you get to be an offering of peace. When you lay your hedonistic desires on this metaphorical altar and you burn them. You know, when you say, hey, I don't want my life to be defined by smoking dope. I don't want my life to be defined by, you know, sex. I don't want my life to be defined by how much stuff I have, you know, relationships. Man, I want my life to be defined by this, by being the man or woman God created you to be. You become an offering of peace. Every time I say I want to grow and I put forth effort to grow, I bring peace into the world. That's what inspires me to do these videos and be real with you guys. I bring peace into the world. I don't have to sit there and shove this stuff down your throat. Man, I just have to love people. And it inspires me to love people, whoever they are, wherever they're at, whatever their religious beliefs are. An offering of thanksgiving, man, when I do ministry work, this recovery, I've never done drugs, but I'm in a recovery ministry because it's the most meaningful thing I've ever done. Because I have things I need to recover from. I have hurts, habits, and hang-ups I need to recover from. And when I put forth the effort to invest in myself, and then I turn around and I start investing in other people, I'm an offering of thanksgiving, because I'm only doing that because I'm so thankful for the peace that I have in my heart. And man, you just can't shut up about this stuff. You really can't. You read what you wrote, saying how people judge you. Yeah, they do, man, they do. And that's human nature, and I expect it. I really do. If you look like a duck, walk like a duck, ride bikes like a duck, expect to be treated like a duck. I mean, just being real. It's hilarious when I see moms in Walmart grab their kids and bring them close to them like I'm going to hurt them. Dude, I was a youth pastor for years. I may not hurt them, but we might do something fun that would get you hurt. I don't know. I was a youth pastor. Waiting for God to give me a church to be a pastor, to be a pastor, which I guess I am. It's kind of something you're called to, not something you do for a job. Yeah, and here's the thing. Yeah, I see what you're saying there too. People are just trying to shove it down your throat. There's this concept, like, you either believe what I believe and assimilate to my way of thinking, or you're going to hell. That's a lot of what we're taught in churches. Assimilate to my way of thinking, or you're going to hell. And how silly is it? And it's just so ridiculous. Not to complain and throw rocks at my own faith, but golly, man, we can't even agree with each other. Like, if you're a Baptist, you better believe the Baptist way, or you're going to hell. If you're Pentecostal, you better believe the Pentecostal way, you're going to. That's two prominent ones around where I live. You either believe this way, or you're going to hell. Let me tell you something, buddy. I lived in a metaphorical hell for a long time, and it was called a religious extremism. It really is. It was called religious extremism, religious fundamentalism. That was a literal freaking hell that I lived in. And that's probably one of the most beautiful things God saved me from, because he showed me how little everything, all this theology that I have, I have years worth of study, and he showed me how useless all of it is. Man, it's as simple as this. It's as simple as this. Jesus died for your sin and your guilt, because these are the two things that kept you from having a relationship with God and depreciated your worth as a human being. Boom, paid for, done. So now, be an offering of peace. What's holding you back? What's holding you back? The rest of the Bible, boom. It's going to ask you this question one way or the other. What's holding you back? How does not being poor in spirit hold me back from being the person I could be? Let's figure it out. And then do that thing. It's that simple. Be an offering of peace. Okay, I have this toxic trait. I have this toxic behavior. Let's deal with it. Let's face it. My value was set. My worth is set. I will no longer be depreciated. So let's figure out what's holding me back, and then work on it and practice it, and then pass it on to other people, and inspire people and love people. Simple as that. The whole faith. So simple. It should be so simple. It shouldn't be overcomplicated. There's your seminary degree right there. Take it. All right, love you guys, and I really am going to quit this time because we've been doing this for 40 minutes, and I got other stuff I'm going to do today, and I'm probably going to go to the gas station and find me some biscuits, because I love some gas station biscuits. And sadly enough, I've got to change the oil in that motor. It's sticky. Sticky oil is no good. It's bad. Need to change it. It's broke down. It can't go any farther. And so anyway, man, I want to leave you guys with this. You're loved. You're loved. And if you don't believe so, I love you, and I don't even know you. I don't have to know you to love you. I don't have to know you to know that. I don't have to know you to love you and know that you are valuable. The world is a better place with you in it. And if you say, oh no, well, if you knew me, no. You have the same potential for positivity and good, to bring good and life into the world, as you do death. And I encourage you to exploit that potential. Bring life into the world with the way you walk, the way you talk, and the way you live, and the way you grow. You have value in the world. The world is a better place with you in it. And just because you make mistakes doesn't make you a mistake. And you don't have to agree with me, because I want you to find out for yourself. Love you guys. Y'all have a blessed day. And, man, catch me tomorrow morning at this time-ish. Later.